Hello YouTube, this is the Bucket coming at you today with my Charter Arms Undercover in 38 Special. I saw this at the gun show. It was on a table with lots of other bargain guns, and I said to myself, I just have to have that particular gun. And I've never brought to the channel a Charter Arms before. This is a cool older version. I wanted to show it to you and just kind of tell you my thoughts about Charter Arms and about the Undercover as a whole. So in 1964, Doug McLennan, he founded Charter Arms. He had worked for Ruger, for High Standard, for Colt, and he said, I can do a revolver a little bit gooder. And he came out with this design. And what was kind of revolutionary about this design is he used a cast frame, one piece. There is no side plate that comes off, and because of that cast design, it being one piece, it increased the strength of the overall frame, which allowed it to get smaller and allowed it to get lighter, which allowed for a smaller gun. Actually, on their website, they said that this was the smallest, lightest 38 Special revolver on the market, and this is what they came out with, and at a price point with it being cast that allowed a lot of people to get into these guns at a very, very reasonable rate. So let's talk about the specs. This is a 5+0 on the capacity cylinder here. The overall length is going to be 7.5 inches. This is a 3-inch barrel model. The width is going to be 1.25 inches. The overall height is going to be at 4.25 inches. And on my scale, this came out at 16.6 ounces. When you look at these, primarily you're going to see a 2-inch and a 3-inch version. The 2-inch is much more common, although in 1988 they did come out with a 4-inch and a 6-inch version. This is going to be primarily in 38 Special, but they did make them in 22 long rifle, 22 mag, 32 HMR, and 32 Smith & Wesson long. As you know, David Berkowitz used a 44 Special Bulldog revolver that actually had a different a slightly different frame, looked almost the same as this particular frame, but that is what he used in his track record of being a serial killer. This does have a hammer block, which makes it very, very safe to carry. You can see there is no firing pin on here. It is double action, single action. In the original models, you would have the Charter Arms Corporation, and they didn't have an address line. You'll see 2 or 3 different address lines here. On the other side, it's just going to say Undercover 38 Special. The medallions on the grips, the original ones had a cool tree logo. This one has the scroll logo on it, which is pretty cool, and you're going to have walnut grips on that. Again, steel frame. You're going to have a steel cylinder, steel barrel, but again, the aluminum is going to be on that grip, on the trigger guard, which is going to help cut down on weight. With cutting down on weight, 38 Special is no joke of a round, so this gun is going to have some recoil. It is going to bark at you a little bit, which means lots and lots of training. As well, this is going to have a fixed front sight, and it's going to have a trough fixed rear sight, so you're going to have to figure out where that point of aim, point of impact is. You're going to have to train on this. So no gun comes at a discount so much to the point where you're not going to have to make up for it with some training. That being said, I've been really impressed with the lockup. The 8-groove rifling looks really, really strong in these. Everything, the fit and finish looks really pretty nice for a budget revolver. I think they did a really good job on this. Just plan on training with your weapon that you get. I think I would prefer the square grip. I found my knuckle likes to rub a little bit on the trigger guard. It is a natural pointer. That double action is long. It stacks a little bit, but I think it's something that you could train by and you could get better at it, and this could be something that's really nice for you. I will tell you that my model right here, the cylinder kick out, I could push in on it and I can push out the cylinder and it will come out, but I find it's a little bit easier if I just pull on that extractor. So check yours out at the pawn shop or the gun shop or at the gun show. That's not a deal breaker because, you know, these guns are going to be kind of a 5-shot self-defense backup roll. That's kind of where I see these fitting in the best. Just some things to kind of think about. Again, great budget option out there, a lot of fun. you're going to have to get used to that recoil impulse from this really, really light revolver. So something to think about. So here I am, just got back from the range with my Charter Arms Undercover 3-inch, and I wanted to talk a little bit about my shooting impressions with it. So obviously, you know, you're going to have a very light firearm shooting a 38 special. This is a long double action. I'd say probably close to 13, maybe 12 pounds. That small trough sight. It is a natural pointer. It does do point pretty well with it. But I did want to talk to you. I talked in the video a lot about the recoil of it. This small grip does want to jump out of the hand a bit, but I did want to say you can get some fairly good accuracy with this. This was at 10 yards. I had one flyer here. I could feel it when I shot it, but even when I factor that in, this is a 3.5-inch group. That is not a bad amount of accuracy from the first time I ever shot the firearm. So if you're really thinking about it, do think about the amount of time that you're willing to put in with this gun, but the Charter Arms can provide you some good accuracy. I do want to thank you guys so much for supporting the channel, all the likes, the comments, the shares. They're really appreciated. And as always, you stay classy, YouTube. Little baby bucket, do you want to live in California?
No.
Why?
Because I'm not a compliment.